So we're here today again for Quantum Creativity Show with Cesarina and Santari Green. Cesarina Trone and Santari Green here on the screen with me in UK, evening time, afternoon for me, and late afternoon for me. And we have a very special guest today. I've been looking forward to this for a few months now. And I want to welcome to our Quantum Creativity show, Gina Cloud, all the way from Los Angeles, California. Good to have you, Gina. I'm just so thrilled. I'm just so honored to have you as a guest for our show. Welcome. And
Thank you.
And I just want to share before I have you talk a little bit about you and what your body work is in the world today, in this fast-moving, shifting world, empowering women as you do every day through modeling it in your own life. I met you exactly about 2 years ago, 2 summers ago,
Yes.
and it was one of those really magical synchronistic summers where a few weeks before that I didn't know I was going to end up in Tuscany, and met with a young woman, a friend, and she said, "Are you coming?" "I'm going." And I checked it out, and here I was at this dance workshop where Gina was really a big presence, and you really magnetized my attention because of the way you embody womanhood, the way you have this, this gracefulness and this contentment and happiness and blissfulness about you. So of course we talked, and we were at the workshop the whole week, and it was an amazing just beautiful backdrop for our experience there, and made me fall in love with Tuscany itself because I was there. But then here I was also making new friends, and I met you, and I knew then, this was 2 years ago, that one day you will be our guest. And
yes,
here we go. I said that then. I said, you will be our guest in Quantum Creativity. And sure enough, it's, time is just so, such a morphing, fluid thing lately for me too. So 2 years means like yesterday. So here we are to introduce you as what do you call yourself? Because I see you as a beauty, as a visionary, as a empowerment coach for women. Of course, you're an artist, a soul artist. You're a dancer. You're a writer. But without putting limits on roles and labels, and how would you describe yourself for those who are maybe getting introduced to you for the first time here?
I'm just me. I'm Gina Cloud. That's how I describe myself. And it's other people that put the labels or the definitions, or society. What do you do? I'm just me. I just walk around being me, and whatever that transmission is that people receive, like what you received in Tuscany, I just strive. And that's part of what my work is about, is it's like finding the keys to unlock us from our own internal prisons or societal prisons. So I'm just Gina Cloud.
I'm just Gina Cloud. with a very witty website, by the way. Everyone who's going to go to your website later and they're interested is GinaCology.com. What a beautiful name. And obviously we're going to get to ask you why GinaCology.
Well, GinaCology, it's interesting. So much of what happens for me is a download intuitively. I don't really kind of walk around going, okay, I want to do this. How should I do it? And that's the feminine. It just kind of comes through, and I'm always like waiting to midwife, and I'm always in a state of like labor, ready to deliver the goods, right? So it's funny because the way I write GinaCology, first of all, people go, it sounds like gynecology. I said, yeah, I know. And because my work is so focused around women's bodies and their sexuality, it's perfect. But my initials are GC. So, the initial G, I-N-A, and then capital C, like cloud, ecology. It's my philosophy. It's my way of looking at life as a woman through my lens that I want to share with others. And if you look through that lens and you see what I see, then it's a path and it's a journey that you want to take in your life as a woman. But men find it too, and men are also really intrigued by, the things I have to say.
Beautiful.
So, yeah, with this.
Speaking of men.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's been an interesting journey in the work because it's very woman focused, and yet as I evolve it, I realize it's really about all of us, and it's about the liberation of the human spirit and about us being who we are. And I have my philosophy in many ways is what's in front of you. Don't look at it the way the media, the world, your parents, religion, all these structures in our life are saying this is what this is. I'm saying, okay, this is, but it's also this, and it's also this, and if you like that, it looks different. And what do you think it is? I love questions. I think questions are more important than the answers, because the questions, they lead you on this journey to find out the truth for yourself. So the questions in life are way more important than the answers. So I love to just drop a lot of questions. In my blog, there's always questions. I always end up at the end of it asking a million questions, because I want you to walk away with those questions in your mind and go throughout your day thinking about those questions and answering them for yourself, unplugging from all the external input that we get, And for women in particular, it's very sad to me how deeply socialized we are from very, 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 very early ages. It's becoming younger and younger and younger. Girls 6 and 7 years old want to be on diets, and how socialized we are away from accepting ourselves the way we are, to finding beauty through our own lens, and it's something that it's very important to me to work on changing, to help women really embrace and accept who we are, as we are, how we are, regardless of age. It has nothing to do with it. So these are some of the things that really tug at my heartstrings when I see what we're going through as women.
I want to actually start sharing the screen here for your website, because I think it would be fascinating. There we go. To show a couple of things about your work, and you live it, really. So that's the idea, that it's not a separate thing. We're not, a lot of people who are teaching, who are training, who are, they're bringing it as a separate thing. And it's been time for a while to embody what we're teaching or what we're telling people to do. And so here we go. You love tango, you dance. I know do you train people on dance? Because you definitely have. When it comes to dance, I've watched you, and I do want to see you train people on dance. But I think, again, it's a modeling thing. People just see you dance and they want to dance.
It's dance is my greatest passion. I mean, I always say it's my first love ever since I was a little girl. And I've done a lot of different forms. I think what people see when they see me dance is my full expression of my spirit. And that I love what happens for me when I dance, especially with women, how women will literally come into my field and they want to dance with me. And then I'm helping them open up to that liberation and that freedom, or the wild woman, as I like to refer to it in a lot of ways. But tango is something new in my life. I don't teach, but I am actually in the process of putting together I'd like to do actually like a week-long seminar on the wild woman, and really getting women back in our bodies and celebrating and really getting in touch with what our innate, true feminine sexuality is, female sexuality. But I'm putting together a one-day event here in LA to kind of take women through a process that'll allow them to reconnect. And dance, it's critical for that.
Yes, it is critical. Yes.
And I've been dancing tango for the last 2 years, and it's life-changing for me, because it's a very spiritual journey, actually.
And it says here you've spent the last 25 years developing your own body of work, and about that self-mastery as a woman, as you mentioned, and what women can do to heal themselves. And of course, I'm going to go down so that we can see a little more. You also speak, of course, about this. You're on our show. You have I'm going to zoom into the book, though, because the book I love the cover of this book. Let's see if it would open up for us. I think it would open up. It's something that just happened recently. Am I right? It was maybe springtime, or when was it that?
No, the book actually came out. Thank you. Yes, it came out in 2009. Actually.
Oh, okay.
I'm horrible at self-promotion. I got to be honest. That's why I mean, honestly, I just suck at it. I walk around and I know that I have all these gifts to give, and I give them. I just give them everywhere I go, to the people I work with. But when it comes to like doing that business piece and promoting things, I haven't done. I'm actually looking to relaunch the book pretty soon, a little bit, because
Yes.
People really like it, you know,
Yes.
and I have, there's more books in me. There's more, I love writing, which is why my blog is a great vehicle for me to write about a lot of things for both men and women. But I love my book. And again, another download. It was one of those things that just kind of wanted to come through me, because for me, I do teach what I live. It's all about this journey that I'm having. And I share it organically. I try to be very vulnerable and transparent in what I do share, because I believe that makes people trust you and connect with you as a human being. It's like, okay, well, she's going through this. And it's very important for me to, I don't like the whole guru thing or authority thing. And yet, you know, especially here in the US, everybody's like, you know, I'm an expert in this, I'm an expert in that. And yeah, I am. I'm definitely an expert in a lot of things, but I don't like to really use that, to use that word. Like I said, when you asked me, you know, who I am, I'm just Gina Cloud, you know, I'm just sharing me. And the whole goal is for all of us to share ourselves, because when we share ourselves, we invite and inspire and empower other people to share themselves too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I pick up on looking at your blog, all the different articles.
Oh, we lost you, Centauri.
Just saying that when I look through your blog and find.
We lost you
We
again.
lost you again. Can you hear us?
Lord. I'm sorry. I might just have to come off the call in that case.
No, you're okay now. I can hear you now.
Well, I'm not going to repeat it a second.
Oh, no.
Leave it to you, I think.
Technology.
Yeah.
I think I got the gist. So you were saying something about my blog and share
art.
and what I share. I do. I think that's why, I mean, there's days I've looked at my app for the blog and there's been 65 countries reading it. And that makes me really happy. Because to be able to touch people's lives is what's important to me, and to touch them in a way that is awakening them to their true selves and shedding the layers. Like sometimes at one point I had a tagline where I said I was a stripper. I said, I'm a stripper, but I don't take off my clothes. And instead I peel off all these layers of around us, all this, until we stand naked as who we truly are. So it's about, you know, removing the layers that society, and like I say, science, society, media, schools, parents, religion, all these boxes we end up in. And it's about taking that all off and getting naked together, you know, and really being vulnerable and honest about who we are and willing to share that. That's the most vulnerable thing, is to be myself and to share that self. Good, bad, ugly, all of it, you know, and especially for women, my God, you know, it's such a difficult journey for women to be able to feel okay with, because it's all about how we look, right? You know, that's the first thing that everyone's concerned with in terms of women. And yet men, the thing that men love most are women who are natural, women who are comfortable in their own skin, women who, when they wake up in the morning, it's the same face they saw at night. You know, it's that, right, Centauri? You know,
I was going to say, as far as I'm concerned, there isn't any ugliness here. You know, when you talk about the ugliness, I think that's just perception. I think
when I use that more to describe our shadow. We all have shadow, and we all have places that we feel, oh, I can't expose that, or I can't share that, or I can't let anybody see that, or I'll be judged if I. That's what I mean by that. It's like, if you can be that too, if you can say, God, you know, I just feel horrible today. Or I did this thing and I feel ashamed, or I feel that there's a gift and a beauty in being able to reveal those pieces of yourself. And the people that you can reveal those parts of yourself to are your true tribe. You know, I like the word tribe even over family, because I think tribe, you pick your tribe, you know, your tribe. My family isn't necessarily my tribe, but my tribe is my family, because I've handpicked everyone. You know? So how vulnerable can we be with one another? How transparent with one another?
Well,
And
it starts with yourself. How vulnerable can you
absolutely.
be?
Absolutely. Yeah. But, you know, my book is really, the idea behind the book was to, like I said, to redefine, you know, and through my lens, what it is to be a woman, what my journey walking it has been for me, because a lot of it has been when people will say things to me about how they experience me or how I affect them. I'm very kind of shy about taking in a lot of those compliments. But then I would think, okay, so how can I help people? What has my life been like? that has allowed me to be in a certain way that almost everywhere I go, people receive me in the same way. And I wanted to share with women in particular my ideas around, what woman is. So, and I love that you love the cover, because I use a lot of imagery that really looks like the female vulva, the vagina, the yoni, whatever people are comfortable using. Because we're mirrored all over, in nature, everywhere you see the vulva everywhere you go. And I wanted that element to be on the book cover. And I designed the whole thing myself. And it didn't matter to me. Some people liked it, some people didn't. Most people have a pretty positive response to the image. And so the acronym, woman stands for wild. The W is wild. The O is open. The M is magical. The A is authentically empowered. And the N is nectar. And so each chapter in the book is me talking about, each of those letters. And there's a section in the front about why we need a new definition, because I feel that women, particularly in the West, but the West is influencing the rest of the world. So women are increasingly becoming more masculinized. There's a level of success that we have, and we can make money, and the corporate model, which is a very male model in the sense of linearity and competition, and actually the negative aspect of masculinity, because there are a tremendous amount of positive elements to masculinity. But unfortunately, the way business is done here, I think it's more the negative aspects of masculinity. And so women are jumping on to that to become successful. And in the process, I feel it's taken away all of our feminine qualities and our ability to be receptive, to be vulnerable, to surrender, to be open, to receive, to give, to be soft. And those are strengths. Those are not weaknesses. If somewhere along the way, I think I mentioned this in my book as well, that I feel that feminism, for all the good that it did for women, in a way, what it did was it created a lot of sameness, because women began to feel, well, in order to be at a level economically with men, a parity level with men, well, we have to stop being all these things that make women look like women, or the feminine energy in women. But we can't have that because we're almost demonized for it. So let's act more like men. And in the process, there's been this masculinization of the feminine. And because nature has to have a balance, there's also been a feminization of a lot of men. And so there's this, and it's interesting because there's a balance. And like I see it in my daughter's generation, she's 20. And it's flipping in a lot of ways. And it's fascinating to watch, because it's like nature's way of restoring its own balance. But I think in the long run, if you incarnate in a female body, you have certain experiences energetically, emotionally, physically. And there's a quality of energy to that. And I talk about that in my M chapter, that I think we need to be aligned with that and not the masculine. We have both masculine and feminine within us. And that's one of the beautiful dancing tango. You really see the two becoming one. You see the masculine and the feminine energies blending together into this one place, and knowing that it's within both of us. But I think your body that you are in, whether it's a female body or a male body, there's an energy that drives that car. It's like what type of fuel do you put in your car? And to get women to come home to experiences within our body, like celebrating our menstrual cycle and using it as, as like a GPS, goddess power source, I call it. And I actually created a product around helping women to reclaim not just the sacredness, but a practical, because I don't want to, all the new age stuff, I think it's difficult for a lot of people who really need to connect with this stuff. It's off-putting to a lot of people, a lot of the languaging, the new age languaging. And so I created a product that would help women understand in a practical way why your menstrual cycle is your compass and your guide for your, for all of your life. And to get us to really reconnect with these amazing vehicles. Our bodies as women are incredible vehicles for so much. And our sexuality is also a huge piece of that, which has been repressed for centuries. It's centuries of repression of our sexual energy, and what, to really, so for me, I'm actually moving into a realm of talking about what female sexuality really is in its raw, pure, unleashed, uncensored form. And that's a terrifying thought to a lot of women. And I think it's also one of the reasons that our sexuality has been repressed again for centuries.
I'm interested in the
Oh, Centauri, we can't
Your
hear
mic
you.
is not coming on. Can you try it again? I think it will come on in a second again. It's got its, today's full moon, by the way, so it could be very
Yes.
well a dance of the full moon. There, so
Oh, yes, the full moon is affecting the microphone.
I could hear you.
Or maybe it's me and Cesarina. You know, you've got all this wild female energy around you, and it's impacting the.
I forget what I was talking about just now. Oh, yes.
I think you had a question.
Sexuality in education. If I recall back to my youth, there wasn't anything of a note whatsoever to tell you about what it is to be a woman
Mm.
or what roles you might experience. And what you're doing is perhaps giving young girls a
We can't hear you. Oh no.
The last part.
their relationship to their bodies,
Oh, okay.
Yes.
sexuality, and also to male bodies and sexuality. So
Well,
that
you know,
some sort of idea about how to relate to
there's a Cesarina, if you want to, on my website, there's actually the Sacred Facts of Life. There's a workshop that I've been teaching for a lot of years to young girls, and it's through my GinaCology lens of trying to give them a sacred and honoring container of what stepping into being female is like, because most of them I've learned from them are really terrified at the idea of their bodies changing and becoming female bodies. Why? Well, if you look around everywhere, women's bodies are sexualized, exploited. There's violence, there's pornography, there's all these things that are really not making a young girl think, oh, it's a positive thing to have breasts and to have hips and to be sexualized in that way. So it's for me, this workshop's really important, and I go through all of the changes that they'll be experiencing in their own body. I explain what goes on, the physiological changes in boys' bodies, and I teach them how to respect themselves and to set boundaries. And I also explain to them about their periods in a very unique container, because all they ever hear is something negative. And if you are taught that you're going to have a negative experience, you will have a negative experience, because your thoughts determine your reality. And if you think it's negative, then so it will be. So I try to give them a positive and a completely different way of looking at it. And it's been very successful. I mean, some of the girls I've worked with have won, in fact, on the website, you'll see there's some testimonials from the girls, some written by the girls themselves, which are really awesome. They're completely unedited. And I have a testimonial from one girl that I worked with when she was about 14, and I think she's 25 now and married. And it's one of the most beautiful testimonials I've ever got from someone. There it is right there.
Which one is it?
And the one at the top, testimonial. No, scroll down. Testimonial from a student now married in her 20s. And she sent it to me, and it brought me to tears, because you don't realize, sometimes we don't realize that we have the power to really affect people's lives if we share ourselves, if we're willing to open ourselves and to give our gifts, and if we're willing also to be honest when someone. I think a lot of times we go through life and we experience a person who has a quality that's off-putting to a lot of people, and everybody will talk about them behind their back and triangulate. If you can, with love, go to that person and say, I want to share something with you. And this is how I experience you. You can change someone's life by being honest with them, because they may be completely unaware. So when you realize that, for me, when I realize the effect I have on people, it always brings me to tears, because I never think that what I'm doing or saying or sharing is that big, but I've learned it is that big for a lot of people. And I just continue to be Gina Cloud, and to do what I do, and to share what I do, and to be real, and to fall down, and to get up, and to make mistakes, and to be honest, and experience all the things that I experience as a woman, all the things I experience as a human being. And my desire is that changes me first, that evolves me, not necessarily changes, but it evolves me. And that as people watch me do it, they go, well, if she can do it, I can do it too, and also being a single mom, and trying to teach other women, because so many women will have this excuse of, well, I don't have any time and I can't do it. And I'm saying, I know how you feel. I've lived this, you know, and you must put yourself first on your list of things to do. You must. So, but this workshop with the girls has been really powerful and important to me, because it breaks my heart to see what's happening to our young women at an earlier and earlier and earlier age. And I posted, someone shared with me on my Facebook page, and I shared it. I have a GinaCology page also. And I shared, it was something about why 12-year-old girls are having rougher and rougher sex. And that just devastated me, even though I know it's happening. 12-year-old girls having sex, number one, that's enough. But rough sex, well, that's also related to the fact that most of these kids are growing up with pornography as their education on sexuality. And I've worked with quite a lot of guys that have found my work, young men in their 20s and early 30s that grew up on porn, that went through this whole seduction community circuit trying to teach them how to get women in their lives. Basically, it's just how to get laid. And they would write to me after reading my stuff, which is very non-shaming, very non-judgmental. And I would end up coaching them and helping them reconnect with their ability to connect, because pornography had ruined their ability to connect with real women, to connect with women on any level. And it was destroying their sexuality as well. So there's so much to unravel. And I think our sexuality is a huge piece at this moment in time for women to reclaim the potency and power and sacredness of theirs, so that there's discernment around who we jump into bed with. And I actually wrote a blog post on why there's no such thing as casual sex, and it explores a little bit of that. And for men, it's about honoring, it's for both genders. It's not like, I don't believe that all men are whores and want to sleep with every woman they possibly can. That has not been my experience personally. It hasn't been my experience in coaching men. It isn't my experience with men who are my friends. It's something we learn. It's something that we are taught, you know, and I just feel that it's an important topic to dive into. And I'm also going to be writing for Love TV, and I'm going to start doing some work around what really the potency, power, and the integrity of our sexuality as women is really all about. So I'm looking forward to doing that.
This is such a wonderful balance to hear you speak on these topics that, you know, lots of people don't want to even tackle because they just think, you know, this is taboo, this is not for me, but yet these are practical things that, you know, life brings into everyone's life, like you said, and then you have to look at them at some point. And for the sake of the youth being raised into a society that does not, like you said, right, teach the power of who we really are naturally and our choices. So, and so this workshop that we just looked at for the young women, it's fascinating to me as well. What a wonderful offering. Is this happening every so often? Is it something that's being offered? The Sacred Facts of Life, is that something that you usually offer?
It's actually offered sort of on demand. What happens is it's all been word of mouth for the most part, because moms will say, well, they'll contact me and they'll say, oh my God, a friend of mine told me her daughter did your workshop. It's very special the way that I do it, because most of these kids in 5th grade, they get the sex ed talk in a classroom by Planned Parenthood. My daughter went through this in 5th grade. Planned Parenthood showed up. The first thing they talked about with these kids was anal sex. The first thing out of their mouth was and I was like, wow, okay. They're concerned about, you know, pregnancy and AIDS and the whole thing, but you're talking to 10-year-olds. And so what I do is I get a group of girls, the moms will come to me, one mom usually, and say, I want my daughter to go through your workshop. You know, someone else told me about you and said it was amazing. And I say, okay, get a group that the girls feel safer when they're with their peers. So it's usually their classmates and maybe a few other friends outside of class. The moms organize their schedules, and then they come to me with a date, and we do it on a weekend. I spend like 5 hours. I spend the first hour or so talking to the moms, letting them know what we're going to be doing. And then I send the moms on their way, because the girls will not talk if their moms are in the room. I send the moms away. And for about 3 hours, I sit with the girls and we go through all the material that I have to cover. But it's on the website, all the topics we cover. And then the moms come back, and I debrief the moms and I let them know what was said, and I give them some tools for how to go forward from there. And it's just very powerful, you know, and no one takes the time to deliver this information to the girls in a form that they can actually absorb it. They want to do it the adult way. They want to do it with bullet points and topics. These kids aren't going to hear it, and you're terrifying them on top of it. And you need to separate the boys and the girls. You can't have this conversation. So I'm willing to let the girls be restless, be nervous, have all of the things that are natural and normal for them when I do this workshop. It's very intense for me to do it, and I'm usually wiped out after it, and that's saying a lot because I have an infinite amount. You have no idea. I have an infinite amount of energy. But because I'm holding this space for these girls, it's like I'm their alternate mom. I'm holding them the way their mothers would want them to be held. And I've had many moms say to me, I wish I had a you when I was their age. Because I've had a couple moms like hang back and just kind of listen in on the way things are going down. And they're like, I was just blown away, and I know it's a gift. And again, it was something that was really given to me to share. Exactly. So it's very important, but anybody that ever wants to do them, they contact me, we work it out, and I do them on demand.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
What a gift. I can say from working with children and now working on these topics, working in a different way with children and young, 9 to 12-year-olds and so forth, and preteens, I can tell you that, that is an aspect I haven't looked at because, again, you don't look at some of the things that, eventually the kids are going to be hit with.
Right.
And you're trying to keep them in this, this safe, protective bubble. And yet they can't be kept there forever. Right.
No. So, and you have to empower them. To me, it's about being proactive it's not about hiding what's in plain sight in front of them and going, la, 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 la. It's not there. Like with my daughter, when I realized, and she was in a Waldorf school, which was very much about keeping them protected and everything. And one day when I realized what she was going to be up against, I said, oh no, we're going to sit down and we're going to start watching those Disney movies with their sexist ideologies. And when that moment comes up, I'm going to say, hey, by the way, and I will tell her, this is an idea that people believe, but it's not really true. So you have to become proactive. You can't pretend what's happening isn't happening. You have to look at what's happening, and then you have to be honest about what's happening with them, with yourself, with each other. This is beyond even just our children. And you have to address it fearlessly. You have to be willing to take a look at it and to say, what do I choose to believe? What do I want it to look like for me? You don't have to buy into these messages subliminally or otherwise. You can decide for yourself. And that's why so much of my work is about redefining things and claiming what I want things to be and inviting others to say, what do I want to define these things in my life as? How do I want to define myself or not define myself?
Beautiful.
Well, I think we probably covered everything we want.
Yes, I think so.
Yes, there's so many layers to your work, which are really fascinating, and I was not aware of whenever I met you because I knew of the book then, but I haven't read the book. So now I'm eager to actually read the book and be able to suggest the book to parents and moms and young.
Well, the book is actually not. The book is for women. It's not for girls.
For girls,
it's actually it wasn't written. It was written for women. It's a different flavor, tenor, and everything. So it's not for young girls, but the workshop is. So.
Yes.
So you're going to relaunch?
I am going to relaunch it. Because I didn't do it justice. I just kind of let it come. Like I said, I suck at self-promotion.
Just need time.
I'm working on that. I'm really working on that. So.
Well, people need to go to your website.
Yes.
Ecology.com.
Yes. GinaCology.com.
Yes. GinaCology.com. And yes, and just we will be more than eager to have you back as you relaunch this book and actually maybe cover some parts of the book or have you read, or I could read from it, or it doesn't, we could look at it or show it on the screen again. I think it would be wonderful to explore, because it's time. I truly believe, Gina, that some of the work, some of this work is being done as a pioneer to carve new paths in consciousness. Yes. So obviously you've gone and done it a few years. You started in 2009 and now it's finally ahead of your time, and now it's finally the time. We're looking at these are really hot topics and practical things that need to be understood and absorbed and will be of great help. So to all women. And it's interesting because we have
on demand.
Yeah, on demand.
Yes,
We have been feeling that surge of the essence of womanhood being revealed ourselves with these last interviews have been about that. And you're,
Right.
yeah, and this is really another confirmation for us that we're supporting and holding the space for it as well, which is really nice to do.
Well,
Really.
I'm really glad. I would love to do again. We could always do an interview where I just meander through each of the letters. The interview is just about the W, the O, the M, the A, the N, and
Yes.
I'd be happy to share that information. So
Beautiful.
but thank you.
So meantime, anyone interested in Gina's work, they can find her on Facebook under GinaCology or GinaCology.com or GinaCloud.com or GinaCloud on Facebook. There are many choices.
There are many choices. You can find me. Definitely find me.
If you really need to get into this work, which you will know as you listen to this interview, you'll know this is for you, and you will find her. And I'm very thrilled and privileged that she's made it here with us today. And I am so looking forward to more. Yes?
One more thing, if when people go to my website, if you want to become part of my mailing list, there's lots of free audio downloads, and I have a 65-question inventory for women to try to get a sense of how connected or disconnected you are from your body. So if you join my list, you have access to a lot of free stuff on my site as well.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
that's great to mention. Yes, they can start their journey right away, right now.
Exactly.
Never-ending journey.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you both so much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you indeed for being part of our show today.
Yes, thank you for being with us at the Quantum Creativity Show and flowing in the moment and exploring these new avenues of womanhood and what it means to be one today. To be a great, empowered woman. And
just be yourself.
Yourself, yes.
For goddesses everywhere.
Goddesses everywhere. Goodbye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye for now.